Hi, everybody. Welcome to this amazing edition of Goshen Prepping, straight to you from the beautiful state of Michigan.
Yep.
It is Hannah and I. Here's your co-host tonight, Hannah.
Hello.
Now,
Also known as That Creative Bug.
Now coming in Technicolor, just for your pleasure, instead of actually everything in black and white. That's when TV started coming out in color, they called it Technicolor. Oh. All right, so, hey, Chillin' Penguin Army, of course you're the first in the house. Baby Doc, hello. Storm Chasing Gal, Second Massachusetts, beautiful. Karen, Francine, Squeaky Melissa, love it, from Jersey. Laura, Rebecca, Yo Mama, from Communist Canada, love it. Brenda, Gina, our friend Phil, David from Texas Panhandle, Lavender, let's see, Holly Kasky, Holly, it's Holly. Howdy, Eric and Hannah from Springfield, Missouri. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Everybody's coming in the house. As we go through our amazing live stream tonight, we will ask you if you're going to ask any questions. If you can put it at That Creative Bug,
Yes.
or at Goshen Prepping, we will see it much easier and be able to respond to it easier. And of course, we try to do everything we can to answer everybody's questions, or even just discussion topics. And the first question I see right now is, how's the fam and how's the kitties? The kitties are amazing. Well, the boy Peanut, his name is Peanut Butter. He will not leave me alone. And I'm allergic to cats. I like cats a lot, but he rubs on my legs and licks my feet and legs, and it's like, stop.
Yeah.
And every time he does, I have to wash my legs. I'll start breaking out in a rash. I mean, it's just itchy and irritating, you know. The fam's good. Little baby Miriam is, it's either she's teething, which I think she is, or she has a sniffle. I think she's teething. Well, we know she's teething, but she has a little fever and just kind of miserable. So Ashley has taken the night off to hang out with little Miriam. So it's Hannah and I. That coffee smells really good. What is it?
It is a Big B, H equals MC square latte.
Oh, anybody out there have Big B coffee? It is a Michigander thing. In fact, I guess it's possibly down into Indiana as well, I think.
I think so.
No, not sure.
Yeah.
All right, we got our first super chat tonight from Tim. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Hello, Goshen fam. Hope all is well. All is very well with us. And I don't know about you. I really look forward to the live streams. I feel like during the week, I talk into a camera, talk into a microphone, and the microphone doesn't talk back, which is probably a good thing, I guess. But here, I get to actually see people, and well, kind of. I get to talk to people and actually hear what you have to say, which is always nice. We have a lot of moderators in the house. I see Alex. Hello, Alex, our friend, and our friend Pam. How are you, Pam? How are things going with everybody? So what kind of prepping stuff does everybody have going on right now? Anything good? Anything good prepping for you? Any weapons with you lately, Hannah? Hannah was on spring break, and I tried. She's way up there as far as belts go in martial arts too, and I tried my best to try to get her to come to the dojo this week, but she had her own plans of things going on.
Yeah, I had a busy spring break.
Yep. Anyways, you start back to school tomorrow.
Yep, back to classes.
And then what? I mean, what is it? March? So you go to what, May?
It's like the very beginning of May, I think is our last
So you have like
week.
less than 2 months then.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
but that means now they're going to start signing all those big papers that they put at the end of the semester.
All the stuff
They've already been
tacked on
talking
the
about
end.
them. Not looking forward to it.
All right, here we go. PA Emu Farm, cool. If you had $500 and you're mediocre at preparedness, what would you purchase for $500?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the hard part, because I always say obviously food and water, but to do something more sustainable, I guess besides just food and water, I would probably get a decent water filter, because that's important.
Yeah.
I would say get a firearm, but you're not going to get a very good one for $500. Well, of course, especially if you've spent some money on food, you're not going to get a very good one. What would you get? I'd get a good knife.
Yeah.
What would you guys get?
Oof.
What would you guys get? If you had $500 right now and you had 1 week until you know crap hits the fan, what would you get? 1 week. Lots of ramen, I suppose. All right, let's see.
A Chillin' Penguin Army says, have you been hearing much regarding farmland confiscation?
Confiscation?
Yes.
I have not. And, of course, I check through the news all the time, but the news, of course, is always ridiculously skewed. What have you heard about that? I know I saw in the news this week more about China trying to buy more farmland. But I haven't seen anything about farmland confiscation. I'll definitely put that in notes to check it out this week for sure. No ramen. Sorry, Lavender. Yeah, no ramen. I was just kidding on that part. I think canned food would be good.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what's going on. You can actually get a halfway decent sleeping bag if you need to for $100.
Yeah, there's some clearance ones at Walmart today.
Now you tell me.
They were...
Bad, Hannah. Yeah, so the clearance aisle, especially when it comes to prepping stuff, is like my aisle. Like the last time I was there, I got a nice Coleman camping stove. Didn't even need it. I just love camping stoves. I love them. I don't know what it is about. There's like camping stove and camping cookware.
Yeah.
It's like there's certain things that, like for example, even going back to my college days, I always have to buy index cards, although I don't use them for anything anymore.
I have a lot of them, and I barely use them. I actually have a class that needs them right now.
You're a highlighter person.
I do. I enjoy highlighters because I take way too many notes.
Let's see.
Clutch Cargo says, should I have surgery? It's elective. Now, or do you think that there will be a shit hits the fan event that will interfere with it?
Oh, boy. I don't think... Here's the thing. Obviously, every day is a gamble. How about that? And it's just a matter of the odds of things happening. Now, we are going through a solar maximum of solar activity this summer going into next year. So the more you wait a few months, the higher chances you're going to have with a solar problem. Right now, the United States is not engaged in a war per se that's going to affect us, but in a few months it might. So I guess if it were me and I was going to have an elective surgery, I'd probably do it much, much sooner than later. And the same goes with traveling too. Right now, I'm not saying no to traveling, but we are keeping within a few hours of the house as we go around places. I love to travel.
Yeah.
And our martial arts world competition is in Phoenix in the summer. And I am up for a world title in a few areas. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to get it but I'm not going to take the trip. It's just not because of getting or not getting the title. It's just going that far away from home, right in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
An election year, all this stuff happening. I don't know. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? 3. Everybody knows that. The first 2 are licks. The third one, you bite into it.
An entire lollipop,
Right,
one
exactly.
bite. I have wheat berries and manual grain mill. It's
Great.
so hard to mill that. Do you guys make any that way?
Now, we do have a manual grain mill. We have 2 of them, by the way. We have a Wonder Mill Junior, plus we have like an older one that's been around since like the 1800s. That's pretty cool. If we do any milling, however, we do it with our electric Wonder Mill. It makes life so much easier. Now we have our manual ones in case crap hits the fan and I don't have enough electricity. But I'll be honest with you, I have every intention of using my solar generators for our Wonder Mill when crap hits the fan too. Yeah. The manual ones are there, and I say this for all kitchen appliances, by the way. It's really, you're going to laugh probably. I hope you do anyway. We came across on clearance an electric can opener. Remember that when we got it?
Yeah.
It's like a few months ago. And I was like, it's so cheap. We haven't had an electric can opener I can't remember when we had one.
We constantly just use the handheld
Right.
manual one.
And so we bought it, and I was like, this is nice. This is really nice. But obviously, we still have our manual. Yeah. And it's basically now filling that same blank with everything. Everything we have in the kitchen, we have a manually operated one as well. I love that electric one. I don't think I'm going to be plugging the electric one into a solar generator if we lose power, though.
Yeah.
We'll just use the manual one. But when it comes to milling by hand is quite laborious and tedious. I will probably use my solar generator for my Wonder Mill.
All right.
But we always have backups of everything. It's always good.
Would you go into debt to get a bunker?
No way. I would not. I highly recommend you don't go into debt for anything right now. I don't know. I have such a distaste for banks anyway. I've actually considered making a video just talking about even just using credit cards to get points. So let's say you have a credit card, has a $10,000 limit, and something comes up and you want to buy something for $6,000. What's something for $6,000 you want to buy? Let's say a used car.
Yeah, that's
you
what
go
I was
buy a
gonna
used
say.
car lot. Here's a nice little Subaru. Sounds good. And you're like, how would you like to pay for it? Would you like to get finance? You're like, no, I've got my credit card. You use the credit card, and then immediately you pay it off so you're not paying interest, it's still questionable if you should do that, because that car lot is not getting $6,000 for the car. I mean, they take into account knowing that if you use a credit card, they're getting less. And then you get points. You're like, this is great. On my car purchase for $6,000, I just got 1% back in points. So instead of $6,000, I just got $60 that I can now use to buy more corned beef hash.
Yeah.
The problem is you may get $60, but the bank just got $150 to $200, depending on the relationship they have with that thing. So every purchase, I mean, I'd like to have this job, by the way. Every purchase anybody makes, I get a little cut of it. Doesn't have to be much. A few cents I'm fine with. But the amount of money that people spend, if you get a few cents of everything, then you're banking. No pun intended. And that's what the banks are, because they get, depending on the credit card relationship they have with the consumer, 3%. You may get 1% back or 2%, maybe even 4% in gas stations, which is, in your mind, that's great. It does add up and it's nice. But the banks get a cut of everything, and it makes them even stronger, which I don't like. But anyways, going into debt, I highly recommend you do not go into debt. If you're already, let me put it this way, if you already have everything paid off, I have my house paid off, I have my car paid off, you paid cash for your car, everything's all good to go. The only thing you may have is like a cell phone bill or something and some internet and electricity. I certainly would not then go into debt. If you're already up to your neck in debt, I wouldn't recommend it then, obviously, because it's going to put yourself deeper in a hole. But you may be like, well, I'm already debt for everything else. Maybe. But obviously, in that situation, understand that if we see some crap coming, you're not out of the woods. It's not like, oh, you know what? Hyperinflation happened, and now suddenly you just get to keep that $20,000 bunker. That's not the case at all.
Johnny Abbott says, going to Portland, Oregon this summer, think I'll be safe?
That's a fine question right there. Right now, if you're going to Portland, you'd be safe. However, just like we saw 4 years ago, Portland very well may be quickly not safe. So just keep that in mind. You may want to look at your plans and have it so they're changeable in case you need to at the last minute. I saw a question, how long is bottled water good for? Is it good for long term? Yes and no. It will store in those bottles as long as you keep it into a dark area, nice and cool and stuff, and it's good to go. The problem is when it comes to the small bottles, you have a higher degree of plastination, a little tiny microplastics going into the water. But in reality, we have microplastics kind of in everything now, so it's kind of hard to get away from it. So, I mean, if that's all you have, it's not going to kill you, at least anytime soon. It may make it so when your body dies, it'll actually stick around longer. You never know. They're not the best for long term, though. Getting a more durable container, at the very least, I'm not saying it even has to be one specifically for water, is going to be your best bet. And I see a super chat from Hannah, just don't, for $4.99. Blessings from Fort Campbell. Nice. Just checking in. Thanks, Just Don't. We appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming in and saying hi and hanging out with us on this fine evening. What's the temperature like for everybody out there? We got snow today.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah.
We got snow, but it already melted.
Yeah,
which is nice. It's been such an amazing, mild winter. And that's Michigan, though. You'll have a winter where it's like aggressively hard, then like a normal winter for a couple winters, then a very mild one, then back to normal again. And all those climate change activist people love to look for things like this winter. And I saw a thing on the weather that says, look at the Great Lakes states now compared to what it was like 10 years ago. And they're trying to make it look like 10 years ago it was like, so everything's frozen over this time, and now look at it, because it's all global warming. But last year it was all frozen over. So it's not like we had this gradual of 10 years things getting warmer. Every year fluctuates. Every year is a little different. Yeah. Was it like 5 or 6 years ago? It was like the worst winter here in 15 years. Mm-hmm. We just got pounded and dumped and pounded and dumped. But they want to use whatever they can to try to make it look like it's climate change type stuff.
All right. Holly Rook says, what are some reputable brands on Amazon to buy vitamins/supplements? How do you know you are getting what they advertise on the bottle?
That's a great question. As far as vitamins go, unfortunately, I mean, as far as like the actual brand name, there's a few different brands I use. But ultimately, what it comes down to is you don't know. You don't know if you're getting what you're getting. I would say, though, most likely if they're actually pretty highly rated. So let's say you go to buy some vitamin C and you go to buy this bottle and you check the prices and you're like, this bottle looks pretty good. And it has like 24,000 sales and it has almost a 5-star rating. I'd say it's probably pretty good. What I like to look at, though, when it comes to vitamins, because vitamins, you can actually have what are called cold pressed vitamins versus heat pressed. Heat pressed is things like Centrum or One-A-Days, which are the worst vitamins to take. And it's not that they're bad for you. It's just you're basically like swallowing a penny. You know, every time you take a pill, let's say it costs a penny, you just may as well swallow the penny because they bake the pills. And when it gets to your digestive tract can't break it apart very easy. And you'll end up with pieces of the pill in your feces coming out. And it's a waste of money. So the more surface area you can get with the vitamins, or possibly being chewables, I don't recommend gummies per se, not because they're necessarily bad. It's just the gummies themselves are really bad for you, usually high in sugar. And any dentist will tell you that gummies are ridiculously bad for your teeth and cavities. But chewables are great. Liquid vitamins are great, although sometimes they have artificial sweeteners in them. But something that's going to increase the surface area. For example, if they're like, look, we put every single vitamin in this tiny little pill, that's a bad idea. Where another company says, look, we took every single vitamin you need and here's a pack of 10. That's going to be much better because it's more surface area, a better chance of you digesting and absorbing and digesting that pill.
Yeah.
More questions, Hannah?
Yes. All right. Oof. So many comments come through. Lavender Lattes says, should we pay off everything now?
That's something Ashley and I were just talking about. I guess you should define what you should pay off. And listen, having a car payment, having a payment on, I don't know, I can't think, a motorhome, I guess, anything that's beside your house, that's one thing. If basically crap gets really bad and they end up taking your car, you're going to be okay without that car. But your home's a different story. This is something everybody should listen to right now very carefully. It's very, very, very important you understand this. That if we start heading into hyperinflation, it looks like we're going to be basically good to go. And I actually heard another channel talking about this saying, oh, you're going to be great if this goes into hyperinflation for your house payment. For example, here's an example for you. I'm going to make it really simple. Let's say your house payment is $1,000 a month and your income's $4,000 a month. So 1/4 of your income goes to paying your house. The other $3,000 goes to food, your car, movies, whatever. Hyperinflation starts kicking in. Inflation starts kicking in. And now your grocery bill just doubled. Your house is still 1/4 of your income. That's great. But now you actually have much more food to buy. It's much more expensive for your food to buy and gasoline and everything else. And then over time, your job's going to compensate and increase. So now instead of getting $4,000 a month, you get $5,000 a month. But your house payment's not going to change. That's $1,000 a month. Now it's what? 1/5 of your income. Inflation continues. Everything gets more expensive. Your job compensates by paying you more. And now instead of getting $5,000 a month, you get $6,000 a month. Then $8,000 a month. Then $10,000 a month. And that's what we see. As inflation goes up, pay increases to follow suit with it because they know people can't live and they want to be able to keep on their jobs. During this process, by the way, a lot of people lose jobs altogether. But let's say you keep your job. And now it's up to $10,000 a month. You're like, look, I'm making $10,000 a month. And you're kind of laughing because you know it's still not worth anything because your grocery bill back in the day was $1,000 a month, but now it's like $5,000 for groceries. It's ridiculous. But guess what? Your house payment is only 1/10 of that now. It's still $1,000 a month. Banks know this. Banks don't like this. And they have it in the fine writing that if this kind of thing happens, they reserve the right to call your bank loan at a moment's notice. And then you have 30 days to pay off the rest of it or you lose your house. I'm not kidding you. And this happened during the Great Depression. That wasn't even hyperinflation. That was the Great Depression. What we see coming is going to be far worse. And they're already trying to take houses anyway and sell them for cash to these big corporations. They're basically saying, come on, just give us an excuse. So if you can pay off your house, that would be something that I think would be very smart to do if you can pay off your house. If you decide, you know what, I'm trying to think of a car. I've got a Toyota in the driveway and it's not paid off, but I've got another car that is paid off. They end up taking that, who cares? I get that. Do whatever you need to do. But your house, if we see hyperinflation kicking in, you may very well lose your home. what I heard from another channel, and I was like, that's not how it works, my friend. They were saying that, oh, if this happens, the bank will just refinance your loan for you and everything will be just fine. Everything will not be fine. The Great Depression, countless people lost their homes and they never missed a payment. They were never late on their payments. They were making their payments on time. And the bank said, that's it. We're taking your home back. They have the right to do it because it was in the fine print and you signed that fine print and so did I. That's just what happens when you get a mortgage. Very scary. Dawn says my home is paid off. Dawn, give me your address because if I have to leave my house, I want to know where to go. That's great. No, if you paid off your home, outstanding. That should be your big goal. And it's funny because when you look at any person who's a financial advisor, what's the one guy who's like really, really big when it comes to helping pay off your debt? I can't think of his name. Ramsey? I'm sorry, guys, I apologize. My brain is obviously Swiss cheese.
Not sure.
Everybody knows this guy. He's like the guy who tells you about how to pay off all your debt and everything. I keep thinking Gordon Ramsay, but he does not help you pay off your loans.
He just yells at people.
But what happens, they'll tell you, look, if you have 5 payments, there's 2 ways to look at it. Pick the highest interest rate one first and put all your money to it to get it out of the way. Then use that extra money that you paid toward it and that loan, go to your next one and get it all the way down to the point where you take your lowest interest rate one, and that's probably your house.
I said Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. I got the Ramsey part right. Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey will even tell you that you should, practically speaking, probably leave your house till last. Pay off this high loan first. And some people have it. I think Dave Ramsey's idea is don't go for the higher interest ones first. Go for the ones that you can pay off quicker. So let's say you only have 6 months on your sailboat you're paying off. Again, I can't think what you're paying. People have mortgages or payments on. 6 months on my sailboat. Pay it off first. Then you can put it toward your Maserati or whatever you may have after that. But either way, no matter what you look at, they always say your house should be last. But I'm telling you, if we see crap hitting the fan and hyperinflation, they may take away your sailboat, your Maserati, your motorcycle, all these other things. What happens if they take away your house? That's the dangerous part we have to worry about. Then we're all going to Dawn's house. So Dawn, let's have your address so we'll all go to your house.
Somebody mentioned, do we make the stickers on our computers?
Real quick.
No.
Adam said, useless guy. Talk about Dave Ramsey. It's really funny. I don't like, I love the comedy in here, by the way. I love the comedy. But it's funny. I'd never heard of Dave Ramsey, and somebody showed me his video, and they're like, you should look at this guy. He really knows what comes to about finances. And was the video about what to pay off first? Was about how to handle interest rates? I already know this stuff anyways. I love this stuff. Was it all those things that's really going to help you? No. It was a video about, this is literally what he said. This is when he first came out. He goes, a few years ago, I was a millionaire. And I put it into all investments and I lost every penny of it. And ever since then, I've really tried to find a way to become a millionaire again. And I want to talk to you today about how to save money. And I'm like, you just want to be a millionaire again. You're not in trying to get us to save money. And that was my first impression and my last impression of Dave Ramsey. I've never read his books. I've never watched him. I just like doing this kind of stuff on my own anyway. Mm-hmm. Okay. No, we didn't make these stickers. We just get a hold of them. My computer here, hopefully I don't pull any things, has a whole bunch of stickers too. It's just fun. We like to, there's got to be like some kind of new term for this. Pizzazz, my computer. Stickerfy stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun to stickerfy.
I thought about making stickers, but I just haven't. Let's see. With lots of
Dawn paid cash for her home. Dawn, you are my hero. That is amazing. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Lavender Latte says, what have you heard about the big crash tomorrow?
I don't know anything about a big crash tomorrow. I know that we constantly hear people trying to predict dates. Because I watch these things on YouTube too, and I read articles constantly, and they'll say, oh guys, you ready for this? March 12th, we're going to see a crash. March 28th, we're going to see a crash. April 4th, we're going to see a crash. April 8th, the solar eclipse, the market's going to crash. And I continuously see these things, but we don't have, I'm going to make this so blatantly clear, we do not have a date where we know the market's going to crash. However, what we should do is this. Look at the people who actually have the most investments in the market, like Warren Buffett, for example. Did you know these guys who own huge portions of the market for the past few months have been pulling their money out of there left and right? They know something's coming. So is it going to be tomorrow, like Monday? I'd say probably not, because we don't know when it's going to happen, unless you know somebody I don't. Is it going to be next month? Maybe, I don't know. All I know is there's two problems with this. Is one, they know more than we do, and they're pulling the money out. But secondly, this becomes what's called a self-fulfilled prophecy, because the market's based on this. It's really simple. People see something they want to put money in. Let's put money in it, put money in it. It actually inflates the value of that company because people put their money in it, and the stocks go up. Alternately, let's say it's something people do not want to put money in. They're like, oh, this company is doing terrible. I don't agree with them, whatever the case may be. People start pulling their money out, putting money out, and it deflates, and that can cause the whole thing to crash. Same thing with the market overall. If you have these giant bigwigs who have billions of dollars in the market pulling their money out, that's a warning to us. But secondly, because they pull their money out, that could cause the markets to waver and crash. And that's what happens. We saw the same thing happen with, oh boy, I jumped on one of those bandwagons and I made a bundle. One was GameStop and the other one was, I forgot the other one, but I jumped on that quick.
Was it Toys R Us?
No. Toy. That was actually, do you know they purposely crashed Toys R Us? You know that?
No.
So I don't know why they did it, but there was a bunch of investors who purposely ditched Toys R Us's money on their stocks and purposely made it crash. It was very clear that was their intention, and they did too. But Toys R Us is coming back now.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's in one of the stores like Macy's or something like that. They're going to start having Toys R Us.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. It's like the movie Wag the Dog. Exactly, Mr. Nobody. That's exactly it. Very good.
You Are Joking says, will any satellite phones work after an EMP event? Any alternative longer range, 100-mile, give or take, communication devices after an EMP?
Sure, yeah. I mean, there are some other things, but the problem is how much of a setup do you want at your home? For example, if you want to get like a decent shortwave system for your home, you can do that, but you're going to have a big honking antenna outside. And the problem is during the EMP, you can't have that big honking antenna attached to the shortwave. So you have to have it disconnected, and your shortwave probably in a Faraday cage to help protect it. So you could do that. Same thing with your satellite phone. Now, when it comes to the satellite phones, there is an excellent chance, if we're looking at a traditional type of EMP specifically, it could make your satellite phone fry. If it's just sitting on your table like this, not plugged in anything, it might survive, it might. And the satellites will probably survive too. But if we're talking about some of the new weapons that they talk about, the Russians put in space, I know there's something they're not telling us, you know what I'm saying? It's like the New York City subways, the National Guard's there to help crime. Oh, no, bull crap. That's ridiculous. I don't think so. There's something going on there. So there's an excellent chance these satellites will fry as well, and then your satellite phone will have nothing to connect to. Have you ever seen this before? This is kind of like a little conspiracy thing. There was a Charlie Chaplin movie from like the 20s or something. I don't know when it was. But in there's an extra walking to the back with her hand to her face walking down the street like this. You ever seen that? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, look, she's a time traveler. She's on her cell phone. And that's all well and good, but there was no cell phone towers back then. Her cell phone, she'd be able to play Tetris or Bubble Crazy. I don't know, what are these games people play? Bubble Crazy? I don't think that's a game.
I don't even know that game if that's so.
Yeah,
Subway Surfers.
Subway Surfers, there you go. Yeah, so the phone wouldn't work anyway. But that's the same thing what we're looking at is the satellite phones, they may actually survive an EMP, but you have to look at, will the satellite survive? They might not. Yeah. And there have been studies, obviously, as far as the satellites, as far as surviving it. But there's an excellent chance that if we have a strong enough EMP or a coronal mass ejection that shifts the ionosphere on the Earth, that causes an induction of current, more than likely in satellites too. There's a good chance they will not even work. So you have your satellite phone, it'll still work as a paperweight, but that's pretty much all it's going to be good for.
Big Rolling Home says she was communicating to her ship in orbit.
Come take me away. Yeah, so on that note, my daughter, we were at a dollar store and they had this, and my daughter goes, Dad, isn't he cute? And I said, sure, he's cute, so we can get him, but we don't have a name for our alien.
Well, somebody said it was perfect because this month is the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you, I'd like to be there. And it's funny, guys. I mean, you've probably seen the set. For my birthday, I got that really cool glowing alien head. I was like, this thing's awesome. And I've had like all this like antique memorabilia up on their mantle. And I was like, you know what? It's time for a fresh change. Yeah. I actually had those string lights, so I put those up there, and I put the alien head up there. And then you guys got for me the X-Files one, The Truth Is Out. There's just fun. I've had so many people say, oh, don't tell me you're buying into this alien stuff and everything. I mean, let's not even get into the thing is, then can you explain why there are billions and billions of stars out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. I did it for fun. It's just fun. It's flashy and cool. And there's a funky alien head behind me when I talk to you. That's what it is.
That glows.
That glows, exactly. It's just fun stuff. So this little alien guy, he's now something fun. My little daughter said, we should get this.
They said you should name him Paul from that one movie.
Paul. We should name him Paul.
We haven't seen that
Naomi,
yet.
what's for dinner? Johnny wants to know what's for dinner.
Meatball cupcakes.
Meatloaf cupcakes.
Meatloaf cupcakes.
Meatball cupcakes. Yeah, so Ashley made, I love these things, by the way, just makes meatloaf. But instead of actually making a loaf of meat, you just put the globs of meat into cupcake things. It should be called meatball glob cupcake things or something. But anyways, they're nice because that way you can take them out and throw them in the microwave, etc.
I forgot to eat today. So.
You're just going to eat right here, aren't you?
No, go on.
Okay. Is he legal? I don't know if he's legal or not, but you know what? In these days, does he have to be?
Yeah.
We let anybody in our country. Why not our little green alien friend? At least he serves a purpose, and that's holding a microphone up. Globs. Somebody said globs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, globs of meat. That'd be a good name for him, globs.
Globs. I don't know if that's what I think they're talking about the meat.
No, I know, but I'm just simply saying that's kind of funny, though. How about globs? Eric, when you lived in England, did you ever dare to venture outside of London? I did, Mark. I did not. If I had to do over again, I would dare to go much further out of London. But yeah, I mean, I went to Wales and had tea time in Bath and Portsmouth and some other places that escaped my mind. But honestly, I loved London. I grew up in the city. I love the city. It's London. London's awesome. But now, again, if I did it over again, I certainly would venture far outside and go up to Scotland, go up to northern England, go over to Ireland. I would love that. But Ashley keeps telling me to take her, but I said, if we go, we may never come back again.
No.
May not happen. So if that's the case, Hannah, you get the house.
Yes.
So you guys, what you have to do is if I go to England anytime soon with Ashley and then crap hits the fan, the agreement is you have to put us up. We get to stay in your house with anybody who's watching the channel right now. That's the deal. Alf.
They said it's better for him if he's not legal.
Yeah. Adam, what would you say are the best modes of communication for a grid down? Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of options. Walkie Talkie CB, if you're talking about flat, straight line of distance, 5-10 miles maybe. I mean, CB, single sidebands can go pretty far. The problem is that anything beyond that, you're like, if you do have some kind of shortwave radio that you can connect with, it's awesome. Or ham radios are great. They still have your serious limitations. So if you're trying to, let's say, have a radio and you live in Atlanta and you actually have relatives up in Minot, North Dakota, good luck with that. It's just, unfortunately, it's not going to work. I had a good friend, also on the channel, send me an article. Alex, was that you? I think it was Alex. About these radios they're pretty neat, by the way. They actually work with GPS signals too, so you can actually use them across cell phone lines, but it's a walkie-talkie. And so that way, any place there's a cell phone signal, you can use it like a walkie-talkie instead of actually using your phone to call. And he said that he's had so many people say that, oh yeah, this is going to be perfect when crap hits the fan. But I'll tell you right now, crap hits the fan, there's not going to be cell phones working, including those radios. They will not work at all. They won't.
Oh, no.
Ellie says, I've been to Scotland, England, France, Ireland, Morocco, Italy, Sicily, and my favorite's Barcelona, Spain. Yeah, I've been around the block a time or two, but I'm in Michigan now, which is good. Let's see, what else? Any other questions?
Everything froze.
If I had a cellular phone, who'd I call anyway? Yeah, exactly. Nobody.
Marvin Jr. for the alien.
Marvin Jr.?
Marvin Jr.
What do you recommend for food storage? Canned, freeze-dried, etc.? Yes. That is my answer. Here's the thing. A lot of it is to each their own. I personally think the best food preservation method, period, is canning at home. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about going to buy canned food. If you're just buying canned food or buy freeze-dried food, that's what we're talking about, obviously. We're talking about your own preservation, obviously. Canning food. It's the least expensive. It works incredibly well. It is like time honored, true, going back generations. It's fantastic. It's really good. But the best thing is the price. It's inexpensive compared to other options. The other options would include, for example, dehydrating food, which we do. We've got a few dehydrators. We like to do it. I find, however, dehydration is not as efficient as canning food, because dehydration, even though you can actually dry a lot of the foods, they take quite a while to do that, and it takes the time part comes into it. Now, I absolutely adore our freeze dryer. I love our freeze dryer, but I'll tell you right now, if anybody asks, I'll be completely blatantly clear to them. Are you the kind of prepper that spends a good day, most days of the week, preserving your food and prepping? Then the freeze dryer is probably for you. But if you basically are the kind of person you're like, yeah, I like to preserve food, I dehydrate sometimes, but I mostly just buy rice and beans and canned food from the store, the freeze dryer is probably not for you. Because it's simply just the price. Because go out and buy a freeze dryer, well, just say you got one on sale with all the goodies and stuff with it, $3,000. That's a lot of food you can buy for $3,000. So anyways, I think by far my personal opinion is canning your own food using a canner. Like, we have an All-American. Love the All-American. That's what we use. It's just a fantastic piece of equipment. Very good stuff.
Lynn Larson says, do you predict a bank crash anytime soon? Will this be the start of the crap hits the fan?
I do think there's going to be a bank crash. I don't think that necessarily is the catalyst that's going to cause crap hitting the fan, but it's at least going to be part of the system. I mean, a lot of the experts say right now that as soon as China invades Taiwan, that's going to cause a crash on the markets, because there's such a huge connection economically with us and China anyway, and it's going to cause major problems. It's going to cause the market to crash. I think it's going to be, if you want my opinion, I think everything's going to be like a cascading effect. There's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back that's going to be now cascading between bank failures, economic crash, hyperinflation, depression, shortages, gas prices through the roof, and the list goes on. And I think we're going to see things slowly head in that direction. Then there's going to be kind of like the shot heard around the world. Boom, it's going to send us into that situation, and down it's all going to go. That's how I think it's going to play out. Obviously it may not, but that's what I think is going to happen.
M. Burton says, what do you think of the Haiti issue?
I know, it's scary, isn't it? Now we have Marines going in. But, that's interesting how, as America, the world policeman, we have to take care of the situations. But obviously the whole thing is volatile. But I even ask, how volatile is it compared to what's happened in the United States? Should we even be there? But that's what we do. When I was in, that's what we did. We were always in these places that they're sovereign countries. But nevertheless, we're always there. Yeah, so I don't think we're looking at ramifications, a huge aspect of what's going to happen as far as worldwide goes. But obviously, it's just us simply playing another role by sending Marines in there. And the Marines are obviously just to get the Americans out, obviously. But you have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. Yeah, it's just another little notch of things heading in that direction.
Gray Woman says, prepper channels have been amping up the volume and calling for crap hits the fan, and especially food shortages coming very soon. Like we have a couple months at most. Your thoughts?
No. I don't. Okay. I don't say no. I'm saying no to the channels. Because even when I talk about food shortages, I always put it across of, hey, guys, this might be, that's what we try to do, right? We try to pay attention to what's going on around us. Guys, we're starting to see a problem in fill in the blank, roast beef, because suddenly all the cows died. So we might actually want to go out and possibly start stocking up on roast beef. That's probably a good idea. We think there's going to be possibly a problem in salt. And again, I'm just making something up. So we might want to consider getting some more salt. But I will tell you, be very weary of any channel that tells you, guys, this is what's coming. This is what's going to happen. I like playing devil's advocate and saying what if. And that's smart. We do that, by the way. It's always good to look at specific possibilities of what's coming and rattling our brains saying, hey guys, look, if we're going to see a shortage in this, how ready are you? If we're going to see problems with water, how prepared are you? If we're going to see a problem, people can't get this, how are you going to be prepared for that? How's it going to work for you? What are you going to do? And it's always good to do that, but you always have to take it with a grain of salt. You understand that even with this prepping channel, and I 100% believe I believe we're looking at, within a year, some serious crap hitting the fan. I think we will. I'm not going to ever come across and say, hey, guys, you understand by what is this, March? By March 2025, I almost said 2024. By March 2025, you understand all this is going to be gone. It's not true. You don't know that. I don't know that. And these prepping channels don't know that. And what my favorite thing is, by the way, is when they come across and said, I just talked to an expert who's a friend of mine who does this and this and this. And I'll say, you don't have an expert friend. You're simply just talked about some guy down the street who basically gave his opinion. You're like, oh, he's an expert. Yeah. And you put it on there and off you go in that situation. You guys know me. Hopefully you know me well enough. I know the comedian, 100,000 to 150,000 pounds around to be destroyed. I know we do have it happening. And I just put a video out talking about as far as beef goes. It really is a scary situation. But we always have to, here's the problem. We always have to take our emotions out of it. Don't be emotional. Look at it logically. Look at statistics. Compare it with previous years. See if there really is trends heading in that direction. And then if there is, don't panic. Just start stocking up in that area. Be level-headed. Because once emotions come in, it's going to cloud your judgment and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to literally start going in the wrong direction. However, people know that, channels that is, mainstream media, our administration, the government, the list goes on and on. Everybody wants to put emotion into it because they know if they put emotion into it, you're going to get involved. Do you think cults, do you think when somebody joined a cult, they just want to join the cult and they're like, yeah, I was thinking about joining this cult. I heard you guys have really good Kool-Aid. No, obviously the emotions get involved. And the emotions come into play as, you know what, you're going to be a select few who gets to ride on a UFO into the heavens when the time comes. And if you get closer to me, granted, you have to let me have sex with your wife and all your kids, which they do that kind of crap. It's the emotions. You get your emotions in there. You're like, I am one of the chosen ones who gets to ride on the UFO. I just have to drink this Kool-Aid at the end of the week. It's going to be a great party. And your emotions get involved. And you think all the people did this level-headed? Of course they didn't. Their emotions were involved. They truly thought they were different. And that's what all these play on, not just cults, but mainstream media, YouTube. That's what they say, hey, I've got some inside information. Here's some inside information nobody else knows. It's all going to come down. It's all going to crash next week. That's what people do. And it frustrates me because, oh, wow. Dell says his cult has snazzy sneakers. That's something I would get into. That's great. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. That's it. So basically that's what it comes down to. And this is what happens. That's like the eclipse. Now we see the eclipse cult coming out. The eclipse is happening on April 8th. Ooh. You must be ready because it's all going to crash. Ooh. No, it's not. It's going to be an eclipse. It's going to be cool to see. Get your goggles out so you can watch it and see how it happens. It's just neat. It's a celestial observation. I see the celestial planisphere as all set up like a clock. It's just stuff you can like logic. Oh, look, it's going to happen now. That's how I see it. But emotions get into play, and it is emotion filled, isn't it? When you see eclipse, you're not like, that's neat. You're like, oh, what does this mean? We're all going to die. Pass the Kool-Aid or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you drink the Kool-Aid, Hannah?
No.
I didn't think so. You're better than that. All right. Eat the meat cupcakes. Put it exactly. Eat the meat cupcakes and you'll be all set. That's awesome.
Alex Velez says, would it be worth it to move my money from the bank to Navy Federal CU?
Credit unions are always better. Alex, I'm going to give you a post office box. It's best you send the money to a post office box instead. It was a joke. It's supposed to be my post office box. I'm kidding. All right, so with the FDI, I have to be careful with this. I don't want to make one of my friend YouTube channels angry. But there's a lot of YouTube channels. You know, we talk to each other and stuff. There's one YouTube channel I love. I'm not going to mention the name. And he told me on the phone, he was like, you know, the FDIC won't cover your account if you have both checkings and savings in the account. And I was like, really? I didn't know that. I like economics, but I didn't know that. And then when you see the bank starting to go down, the FDIC was paying these people who actually had savings and checking accounts. I was like, wait, what's going on there? Your bank and your credit union, both are covered by FDIC. And if we're talking about the banks being, crashing, that's why there's that guarantee there, And Alex, I mean, I'm sure you're like me. I'm sure you don't even have 200,000 in your bank account. I know I don't. And so even if you do, by the way, you can actually just open up another account. And this is actually a smart advice for you, Alex, and other people too. If you do have some decent money in your bank accounts, let's say you have $200,000 and you're like, I might want to split it up between 2 accounts. I would actually say you split up to 5. I really do. So out of the $200,000, put $40,000 in Navy Federal, $40,000 the bank that's at now, $40,000 is the Bank of Central America. Whatever. I'm just joking. But find 5 accounts, and that way, because here's the thing: if one bank crashes, and that's $40,000 you can't access, you'll get it back. The FDIC will cover it. It just takes a while for it to go through. So are you going to be okay missing at $40,000? If you had the whole $200,000 there, that's bad. I don't care if it's Navy Federal or other ones. I would recommend get 5 different bank accounts and spread it out, so that way if one fails or 2 fails, you still have the other 3 you can access your money. That's actually what I think you should do. Oh, they're covered up to 250. Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, 250,000. So there you go, Alex. You're 200,000 safe.
Mm-hmm. Nina says, "Do you recommend buying gas masks?"
Let me put it this way: do I recommend buying gas masks? I would say that if you have all of your preps put in play, where you think you have pretty much all your bases covered, and you're like, yeah, I think, let me look at getting like a nice Mira gas mask. They're fantastic masks, by the way. You might want to consider getting one, sure. If for those of you who have never used a gas mask before, which I used them extensively in the military, they're not like glasses, like, oh, gases, let me put them on, and you're good to go. I mean, that is true. You have to know how to put it on, by the way, first of all. There's actually a technique for it. Maybe I should make that video out of that. That'd be kind of cool. Use it. There's a certain technique to put it on, certain technique to take it off. Because if you do it, let's say it's a chemical attack and you have the mask on there, just taking it off a certain way can literally, there's chemicals on the mask. You have to think of it that way. But understand, I don't care what mask you're using or what you're using it for, the mask does not last forever. By far, on the contrary, it's going to last a few hours. Then you have to put a new canister on. So it's not simply just having a mask like glasses you can keep wearing over and over again. You have to get replacement canisters for it. You have to know how to decon the mask. There's lots to it, by the way. So I am certainly not saying don't get one. Having a nice Mira gas mask, I've considered getting one from Mira and actually modeling on the channel. I've considered it. But I find that I try to look at the odds of us needing a gas mask compared to the odds of us needing like maybe a firearm or food. Food and water, guaranteed we're going to need. A firearm, if we see crap hitting the fan, we're probably going to need it. A gas mask, not near as likely as you think. And then the time you do have to need it and do have to use it, it's not as simple as, okay, I'm going to put it on and just continue throughout my day baking bread in the kitchen and stuff. No, it really is going to be like a life or death situation in that, and you have to know how to use it. You really do, because I find a lot of people just see it in the movies, like Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
he has gas mask on there, and it's not as simple as people think it is. Let me put it that way. So I'm not saying no. I would simply say that you might want to consider other things. So Aloha Jay, that's actually that's my point right there. A mask for nuclear exposure. It depends on nuclear exposure. If you're talking about fallout, you don't need a mask for fallout. End of story, period. You do not need a mask for fallout. If you are downwind from a nuclear detonation or a nuclear power plant and the smoke particulates in the atmosphere are coming your direction, then a mask is going to be advantageous. But that's my point, because a lot of people think that for any nuclear event you have to have a mask, even for nuclear fallout. You don't. For nuclear fallout, you do not need a mask. And there was a joke by that during the pandemic from the CDC. Did you ever hear about this? They said that if there's a nuclear event, we recommend during a nuclear event you wear a mask. And everybody's like, oh, these idiots. But that's why, because for a nuclear fallout, you don't need a mask. You can't breathe in nuclear fallout. It doesn't work that way. But the ashes that you find downwind from burning buildings, burning nuclear power plant, etc., then yes, you will have to have a mask for that. Okay, good.
All right. Is it good to keep cash at home or in a safe? Is it good to keep cash at home in a safe?
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely good to keep cash at home in a safe. So here's some safe things to think about. Talk about safes, not like safe things, but like if you have a safe, understand that criminals, when they find your safe, don't break into your safe. They take your safe from your home to their home, then they spend a few days breaking into it once they get it home. That's something to think about. So if you do have a safe, like for example, you can get a wall safe. You can get a wall safe, by the way, from Harbor Freight. It's not a bad little guy. And it actually, when you cut the hole in the wall, you secure it to the the studs in the wall, and it makes it incredibly difficult to take out of the wall. Impossible? Not even close. A nice saw around the whole thing, and they can take the whole thing home with them and do it there. All it does is makes it more difficult for the person to get access to your money. But it still makes it more difficult. And if you find a way to make it so they can't remove that safe easily, or even better yet, that safe is hidden somewhere where somebody's not going to find it, 2 thumbs up. That's definitely what you should be doing when it comes to a safe. So you can get one of those giant, 2,000-pound safes that you have to put in the basement because it'll crash through your floor if you didn't. That is an option too. And they're like so insanely heavy that they'll be like, I can't break into this now and I can't take it home with me. It may keep it safe for you.
Big Rolling Home says put lead bricks in it to keep it safe so it's too heavy.
Yeah. And not only that, but if you actually are able to, if you can take the safe, and let's say it is on the floor in your basement, to actually drill using masonry bit and actually bolt it to the floor so that way somebody doesn't take it. Granted, a lot of those safes actually have cement in them because they're fireproof, but that is an option too. Yeah, but I would highly recommend, if you're keeping money at home, a safe is what you want to go with. Definitely go with a safe. Unless you have certain things that you've actually put in your house, like maybe you actually have something buried in the backyard underneath a bush. By the way, if you bury stuff like money, let's say, if you have a lot of money like this, give me a call. We got to talk. But let's say you have a whole bunch of money, put it in a food grade bucket. Burying it's good, but don't just bury it and then and plant a bush on top of it or something like that, because people don't think to look in those locations. I saw another great question too, by the way. Make sure your safe is safe. Yeah. Darn it, I apologize. I saw another question. Oh yeah, somebody said, this is my words, not yours. I'm an old geezer. Do I have to take iodine? The CDC and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission recommends that if you're over 40, to maybe not even take the potassium iodide following the nuclear event. I have it. I'm going to take it. That's me. But they don't recommend it for older people because they say it decreases the possibility of actually having the radioactive iodine lodged in your thyroid gland causing cancer anyway. But I'm going to take it, even though they don't recommend it.
Oh no, where'd it go? Oh, okay. Which coconut oil should I buy? Unrefined, virgin coconut oil, or naturally refined coconut oil? Both are organic.
Yeah, honestly, I wish I could give you a more definitive answer for this. We use all of them. I find that when it comes to coconut oil, even if it's refined, we look at the source of it and it's still coconut oil. But like you said, organic, it really is a key. I don't think with coconut oil or coconuts you have to worry about so much about being organic, probably. But we like to go with organic as much as possible too. But honestly, if I recall, I think we just use the refined stuff. Ashley, do you know?
What?
Do we just use refined coconut oil?
We use both, whatever's on.
Yeah, it's whatever we got on sale, that's what we use. All right, this is good. Very good questions, everybody.
What do you recommend for cooking and heating for a crap hits the fan event?
Okay, what are you going to cook and heat with? And I look at those obviously separately. If you're looking at heating your house, I highly recommend you get either one. By the way, first off, I think your best bet is have some kind of device that you can burn biomass, wood, paper, pine cones, sticks, all those things. That is going to be your best bet. Now for us, when we started traveling around the country looking to see where we wanted to live, to have our home that's out in the middle of nowhere, away from people, we had a whole list of specific things we were looking for in our home that we wanted to get. And one of the things on the top of the list was we had to have so many acres, and so many acres of those acres had to be wooded, because we can heat with it and we can cook with it. Now, if you are in a suburb somewhere and you may not have wood per se to burn, I still recommend you get some kind of biomass stove, because there's always things to burn. There's always things laying around. And granted, you may not be able to cut a green twig from your tree and make it burn so easy, but that's still your best bet. And that includes, for me, as soon as we moved into this house, the very first thing I did was put in a really big wood stove so it heats the whole house up. We love our wood stove. I recommend you have something like that to keep your house warm, but putting a wood stove is not cheap, nor is it easy. And so if you decide to go with something like, for example, a kerosene heater or maybe a propane buddy heater, they're both fantastic, by the way. We love them. Especially our kerosene heater. We've used those for decades. For decades, we love those things. But when you talk about crap hitting the fan, understand that your access to resources, be it propane, be it kerosene, is going to stop. It's going to stop. So that's something you have to take into account. What do you have access to? You may have a 350-gallon propane tank sitting outside, and there are ways to basically use that 350-gallon propane tank to fill up your little propane canisters, by the way. If you didn't know that, there's ways to do it. Look it up. And that way you continuously can use those for your buddy heater, for example. That is a possibility if you have that. However, I would highly recommend you look to see what your situation is. And I think most people probably could cook with biomass. And there's a whole bunch of biomass wood cooking apparatuses that you can use. And things are getting nice and decent here in Michigan. I almost said warm. That's a joke. But things are getting better. I can't wait for it because this summer I'm going to be taking out all my different types of biomass stoves. I have a whole bunch of them. And I'm going to try out different ones and see which ones work best and just kind of like test them out and show which ones work for us and which ones you may want to consider. That's what I would look at if I were you.
Warren says, if you needed something, a life or death situation, do you have a plan to visit/loot the stores in a crap hits the fan situation?
No, I don't. You're going to catch me in, was it Warren?
Yeah.
So that Warren, you're going to catch me in one of the things we don't talk about specifically what we prep. We don't. It was difficult making a prepping channel because I said, I want to talk to people about prepping because we know it very well. We've been doing it forever. But I also don't want to let people know what I have either. We are in a situation where we don't need to go to a store to loot per se. But let me put it this way. Let's say that you're in a situation where you live a block away from Walmart. When we lived in the city, we lived like 4 blocks from Walmart. We could have walked there if we wanted to. If we see a complete collapse of society and crap hitting the fan and you're looting Walmart, there's no more monetary system anyway. There is no, granted, you don't own the stuff there. It is stealing. But Walmart, there's not going to be a Walmart person there who's going to stop you. They're going to grab it with you. Do you remember World War Z? Mm-hmm. Brad Pitt ran into like a drugstore to get some drugs for his kid. And he comes out and the cop's running at him. He's like, I surrender. And the cop ran right past him to get some diapers. We're all going to be in the same boat when that happens. So personally, the only thing I could see myself doing if crap is hitting the fan quickly is trying to get out and get some more gasoline. Because gasoline is one of those things where it doesn't last forever. And we do, when we get a chance, keep our numerous cans and barrels and everything refilled. But you're always having to restock this stuff because it doesn't last forever. I imagine I'll probably be like, hey, Ashley, look, crap's hitting the fan. It's a 15-minute drive to the closest gas station, I think, out in the middle of nowhere. There's actually one a little bit closer. We never go there. Maybe about 10 minutes away. Yeah. We'll run to a gas station. I'm going to fill up my cans and everything real quick. And I'm probably going to go, I'm going to go home and hunker down. That's what I'm going to do. But I imagine a lot of people will be like heading to the store and looting and doing whatever we need to. Maria, we want to come to Texas. Just tell us where to go.
Carly says, is it worth it to rent a storage unit to acquire more and to store additional preps that you may have at home?
So it very well could be. If you have a storage unit that's relatively close to your house and you just need some extra space, I don't think there's a problem with that. I think when we start seeing things collapsing, I don't think you're going to have a lot of people running to a storage room and saying, hey, let's loot and see what we can find in there. I think when people think storage rooms, they think people's junk they've had for the last 50 years and they don't want to get rid of. And nobody's going to think you're going to have a storage room full of like number 10 cans full of GMO corn. So it could be very advantageous to have a storage unit for that reason. As long as it's close by, because understand crap hits the fan, you're going to have to get that stuff to your house and then you're going to have to start walking on it, walking all your cans on the floor until you start using them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good option. I think it's pretty safe. You could probably do that. Again, as long as it's close by is the key.
Adam says, for a crap hits the fan event, do you recommend staying at home or leaving?
No, I always recommend stay at home. Here's the thing, I'm prepped. If you are prepped, stay home. But if you're not prepped, stay home. At least consider it. Because understand, there's so many variables that come into play if you leave. Let's say that you are in a city, maybe you're in the suburbs, and you could walk for a couple hours and be out in the country-ish. Understand that when things get scary, and in the military, I've been to like a lot of third world countries, and this is a fact, guys. This is not speculation. These areas, especially like war-torn, crap hits the fan, poverty, people start clustering into community units. This is how it is all over in the Middle East, by the way. The Middle East, you may not have a major area in which you have a military overseeing the people, but literally the communities are packing and they all watch out for each other. When crap hits the fan, we're going to see a lot of incredibly scared people in communities, and they're going to be watching out the windows like a hawk, even staying with each other house and seeing what's going on. And then here comes you. I didn't prep, so I'm going to be in your neighborhood now. You are now a threat to those people. You're walking down the street. They're not going to have open arms. Whatever sob story you have, listen, it's me and my 2 kids. I'm sorry, we were actually vacationing here, and now we are looking for a place to stay. You may find somebody who will let you in your house, but more than likely, most people are going to basically gang up on you and make you leave. I always say that your best bet is to stay in your place unless your life depends on it. Now, your life may depend on it. You've been there for 4.5 months, and now you just ran out of food. Your life depends on it because you don't have enough food. Now you have no choice. But even if you're in a city and crap hits the fan and things get incredibly chaotic, if you can barricade yourself in your apartment for a couple months, let's say you have enough food to last 5 months and you've been there for 2 months, hopefully your building doesn't burn down. That is a possibility too. There's going to be so much less chaos out there overall because after 2 months, either the people have left or, I'm sorry to say, have killed each other off. But your threats are going to be a lot less. Unless you can quickly get out of the city. I've got a place in the country. It's 2 hours away. I want to go right now. No cars are working for whatever reason. People always think their cars will never work when crap hits the fan. But you can't drive very far because of traffic jams maybe. But then 2.5 hours, you finally get to that place out in the country. Sure, go quickly. But if you wait a day or two, it's going to get significantly more difficult the longer you wait. And then at that point, it's better to simply just shelter until most of the chaos is gone.
There's one that just popped up. Barb says, what is the best pew-pew for a 70-year-old? Finger not strong to pull brass in. To put brass in.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at somebody in their 70s and you want to buy some type of firearm, I think your best bet would be to probably buy a .22 handgun and or rifle. The rounds, incredibly inexpensive. There's practically speaking no kickback. They're not even loud enough where a lot of people won't even wear hearing protection. It's something you could easily handle. Now, the problem is sometimes the rounds are so small, you may not have the dexterity for it. But that is one of your best bets. Now, for anybody else who's not 70, I imagine that you're probably frail. That's why I'm saying that. If you're in your 70s and you can handle it, I would always recommend a 12 gauge. Always, flat out, a 12 gauge shotgun. And people always say to get the double-aught or maybe some buckshot. I'll tell you right now, birdshot within 25 yards is lethal. People don't think it is, but it is. 25 yards is lethal. They may not go down right instantly, but having some kind of 12-gauge shotgun is a fantastic firearm, especially if you get one that's at least pump action or, like I almost said what I have. Never get a 12-gauge shotgun. That's always right there.
Heather says, I've been prepping, but feeling a little insecure as a renter. Any advice?
Oh, yeah. That is definitely something very, very worrisome, isn't it? I would try to, if I were you, to at least set up some kind of contingency plan. I'm not saying you need to act on that plan, but you need to say, you know what, if things start getting really bad, what am I going to do? And you need to sit down at the table with some paper, pen and paper, and start brainstorming. And if you have friends or family who can brainstorm with you, even better. But start brainstorming and saying, you know what, crap, it's the fan and I can't stay here. What would I do? And then start looking at possibilities and venues. Maybe there's a place an hour and a half from you that is an old friend. They actually have a barn. They wouldn't care if you stayed in the barn. I'm just obviously making this up. Just try to think of contingencies. Because even if you are able to stay, just knowing that you actually have a contingency plan or two, it's always good to have plan B, plan C, plan D, may actually make you rest easier. That's something you should seriously consider.
Jimmy says, if the crap hits the fan, how do we deal with the dead in a WROL situation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so unfortunately, dealing with the dead is a serious thing. Human bodies are horrible disease machines. Some before they're dead. But it's something you're going to have to deal with. And at the very least, you're going to have to try to have a shallow grave, if possible. But if it's in the winter, that's something you have to seriously consider too. A shallow grave in the winter up here in Michigan is not something you can really deal with. It's just frozen ground, you know. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to think of what you're going to do with that body. And staying in your house is not an option. It is not an option. If you get a whole bunch of heavy duty plastic and you wrap the body in the plastic with lots of duct tape to try to seal it up as much as possible and carry the body way out away from your house, not right outdoors, but away from your house, that's your best option if you can't dig into the ground. It's a serious thing you have to consider. And unfortunately, if it's a loved one, you just have to understand that at that point, it's just a body. And it's horrible to say, isn't it? I don't like talking about this kind of stuff. I have kids, you know what I'm saying? But it's something you have to seriously consider. But it cannot stay in your house. I mean, if you have a solar generator and you have a chest freezer and you want to wait until spring to bury that loved one, if that's the case, then to each their own. That's something you can do too. But they can't stay in your house. They can't stay in your house. The amount of, let's not even talk about the smells, but literally the disease that comes from dead bodies is a very serious threat.
Judy says, the world hasn't always been this crazy. When did you feel the need to become a prepper?
All right, so my story is when I was a teenager, actually way before I was a teenager, elementary school, middle school, I was the kind of person who every day I was going outside, playing in creeks, everything, trying everything from fishing to shooting animals and stuff. I wasn't the guy like the camo long beard, camo ball cap kind of guy. I wasn't like that, but I always enjoyed doing these things. And as a teenager, I would go out and just hike out with friends and camp out under the stars in the middle of the night with no tent and stuff. Just loved it. But the actual urgency as far as prepping didn't really get put in my mind until I was in the military. And in the military, I was introduced to realization that the United States and the UK are not like most of the world. Most of the world, at least a lot of places, I mean, I've been all over Europe, but I've been to a lot of places outside of Europe that I can't really talk about. I've been on numerous continents. Third world countries made me realize, wow, in America, we really have it good. We live in the lap of luxury. Whereas these places I've been to, there's not a single ounce of luxury, not one little bit. And it's not even just a matter of a lifestyle saying, oh yeah, I live in a mud hut with leaves on the roof. But when you get into those situations, the political structure for protection for you is gone as well. And that's why the people have to go in communities and take care of each other. And that's what really woke me up to realizing that, wow, not everybody is, when I got to America, I couldn't believe how everybody had blinders on, heading off to their favorite restaurants and stuff, and not even realizing what the rest of the world's about. And that's what opened my eyes. Then, at that point, I started prepping, then started seriously prepping as I saw America start heading in that direction. And that's where I am now. Because I'm an optimist, but I really believe that America is heading into one of those situations of one of those countries that I was in that's war-torn. And that's what frightens me. And that's why I said, even in the military, combat, you keep a level head, you think, you take care of what you need to, you do your job. And that's what we should be as preppers too. No matter what dire situation comes, you can't change that. All you can do is change the way you react to it. how you prepare for it. And that's why you stay level-headed and you keep prepping and try to look at all contingencies for that day that might actually happen here. And that's where I'm at right now.
Aloha J says, what could trigger a civil war based on current events?
I think that the biggest thing we see possibly heading to a civil war is the clashing of the states. We're, as you know, we have such a huge division in our country right now. It used to be, even if you weren't political, but if you were, two sides of the aisle would meet in the center and try to do what was best, what they believed was for the good of the country, good of the people. I believe representatives really try to stand for we the people. And I've said this many times. I believe there's actually some who still do. I really do. But a lot of them are just caught up in the political game now. And division is their answer. Because the people who want to take down the United States, the first way to do it is to divide and conquer. And we are in a horrible situation now where you cannot trust the people who live next door to you. You can't. You want to. And maybe you do have somebody next door to you that you love and you really could trust. I don't know what that was. Maybe you do. But you know those relationships are pretty rare now. You know what I'm saying? We're in a bad situation, guys, where I believe that our way of life in the United States, and I am a pure blood rented American who will fight for this country, who has fought this country, who got injured for this country. I love this country and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I love this more than practically anything, almost practically anything. But unfortunately with that, I see us heading in this direction. And I believe we have time, if it could turn around, it could come back up again. But I believe that it's not a plane with its engines broken and, hey, guys, we're going on crashing. I believe the people in the airplane are pushing on the yoke, purposely heading it toward the ground. So could we pull out of this? We could. But the people who are at the helm are purposely crashing it. That's what I truly believe is happening. So I really think because of that, we're in a situation where we have to continuously prepare, because let's say you survive through all this, very well might. It's going to be a very rocky road for years until that does happen.
Jimmy says, have you heard about the new movie coming out next month called Civil War?
Oh yeah. There's actually, once I get it, I'm going to do a critique about it. But what's that?
It'll be cool.
Yeah, like Ron Swanson's the president. I don't know his real name, but probably Ron Swanson.
I got it up. Give me a second.
There's already things about it, but I'm trying not to judge the book by its cover. But there's a war going on in the United States against our way of life in the United States. And the impression I'm getting from that movie, but again, I'm very skeptical in saying this because I could be wrong. It seems to me Ron Swanson is like the good old American like we are and is in the wrong, whereas the West, which always represents more of progressives, have no choice but to attack DC and the president to get him out. I think it's not simply just a movie to entertain. I believe it's continuously a precursor to what's coming, unfortunately.
Nick Offerman. That's Ron Swanson from
Nick
Parks and
Offerman.
Rec,
Yeah,
is what we know him as.
Exactly. I saw somebody say on here, and this is a great statement, and this is exactly it. Eric, you can tell somebody like Eric who's seen it. Ready? He says, combat's easy. The faster you realize that you're already dead, the better you control your situation. Exactly. Not only the faster, but the more you accept it. In combat, you literally go into it, and once you realize, I'm dead. I'm dead anyway. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to just do the best I can and get through it. And here I am today, years later. I've got an amazing family, a beautiful home, got lots of stuff going on. And because I was level-headed, I have friends who did not come back. And it's one of those things where you have to accept it, because fear, which I just already talked about, is an emotion, and emotions will cloud your judgment every single time. You have to void yourself of emotion. Don't get caught up with it. Just do what you need to do with a level head and go back to your training. And again, that goes into not just military, but here we have to train and drill and practice and prepare over and over again so it becomes second nature. Thank you for that statement. And I see a super sticker too from Marvin. Hey, Marvin. It is a pair What's he pulling out, Hannah?
It's a little thumbs up. He's going.
Oh, okay, it's a thumbs up. I don't think the resolution on my laptop's very good. Yeah, so a pair. Thank you, Marvin, for the super chat. Oh, by the way, you ready? Hold on. My family bought me a little sound mixer for my birthday.
Let's hope this doesn't blast your ears.
Yeah, I know. So for all the people who've given super chat, super stickers, ready? Did you guys hear anything? Oh, yeah, it's going. Good.
Okay.
We have applause. That's what I did there for you.
Stuart says, do you think that mastering the art of hunting and firearms accuracy will pay off due to the crap we are about to go through?
Yes, I emphatically believe that is absolute truth. Especially firearms. Not even just, I mean, obviously hunting too, providing your food. The problem is with crap coming and crap hitting the fan. I mean, I'm going to ask you a question right now. Are we living in a time right now where everything's relatively peaceful? Are we seeing an increase in violence? Are we? Are we seeing an increase in crime? Increase in break-ins? I mean, they said they put the National Guard in New York City subways to help curb crime, even though they said the crime was already getting better in the subways. I don't think that's why they put them there. But anyway, nevertheless, I see things continuing to get worse. And if you don't know how to protect yourself, you're in trouble, because when we see crap starting to hit the fan, most people, I think you guys would agree with this, over 90%, would you guys agree, don't have more than just a few days of food. The grocery stores don't have more than a few days of food. And if our distribution stops, these hundreds of millions of people in the United States are going to be hungry. Many of these people are hungry, also have kids who are hungry. Most of these people in the United States have never gone a day without eating a meal, and suddenly they have a day where they don't eat, 2 days, 3 days. They're going to get violent. History has shown us that people in these situations get violent. You need to be able to practice, not even just shoot. But here's the thing, think about this. You need to be able to learn to shoot while breathing properly, without getting panicky. Adrenaline comes in, you do this kind of shaky thing, and suddenly bullets are going these directions. But guess what? There's an excellent chance that person's going to be moving. There's an excellent chance you're also going to be moving. There's an excellent chance that person's trying to duck behind something or possibly take a family member hostage. There's an excellent chance you'll be hiding behind something. So the people who want to learn to shoot, people come to our property all the time. They're saying, hey, can I come over? I heard you teach people how to shoot, etc. Sure, come on over. We have a range in our backyard. I love shooting. But the very first thing they do is they're like, okay, cool. Here's your bench. Here's a chair. We're ready. Oh, look, I got it. That's great. That's good. It's good for a start. Before we leave that day, I have them using, for example, a tactical shotgun, walking toward the target, dodging, moving like that. And after they're done, they're like, man, I've shot before, but I've never done anything like that. And that still doesn't even come close to being what it's going to be like. And that's something that people need to take note of. Now, take all those things we're talked about. They're moving, you're moving, possibly taking a hostage, you hiding behind stuff. And now guess what? They're shooting at you. That completely takes it to a whole new level. And I think, unfortunately, people are not ready for that. And they don't understand that this is going to be a very serious thing. And unfortunately, a lot of people are just going to cave. They're not going to be able to do it. They're going to completely just cave in, unfortunately. So not only train to shoot, you're absolutely right, but train tactically, go through every scenario. If you need to, at least get a laser hit target for your house. You guys, anybody have those, by the way? I put my own system together instead of buying the real expensive system. But you can actually get laser rounds for your guns, and you can actually get targets. So when you actually shoot, it puts a laser dot in the wall. Then your phone can detect it and actually determine how fast you did your shot. Try doing that from the draw, trying to do it from corners, so you can actually really test your techniques. Test behind, going behind walls, using obviously in a very safe environment, because you don't have actually real rounds in your firearm. All right, Brenda. Oh, super chat with a kitty cat. That's always fun. Mm-hmm. Super chat for $1.49. Here's a different one. Ready? It's a cheerio. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate super chats, especially with a cat.
Yeah.
Cats are cool. Let's see. Hunted coyotes. I've been practicing bow arrows. Arrows can go in a car door. Oh yeah, a lot of people don't realize arrows and even certain bolts and stuff for certain. My brain starts to get fuzzy, guys. I have a few of these crossbows.
Yeah.
Actually have more stopping power than many rounds from firearms do. They're a very serious possibility of something you should keep in your home.
Crossbows are cool.
Yeah.
I have a hard time reloading them, but they're cool. Oh, there was a good question. What signs would you interpret that crap hits the fan is within a day or so?
Okay, good question. What could we look at? What's some things we could see in the news that we realize crap may be hitting the fan in the next few days? I think the biggest thing is, besides seeing a progression, because again, it's not just one thing. It's not just like the economy's crashing. And it's not just simply National Guard deployed in, not even just New York subways, but like literally for action, or, there's so many things that could come into play. But when you start seeing a drastic increase in violence, and I'm not talking about in very small clustered areas that we saw across the country where people were looting and breaking in buildings and stealing stuff, which they still are today, by the way, or like certain downtown area, they call it, what was that, like that free zone or whatever they called it, this idiots they did. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm seeing, just generally speaking, across the country on the news, that as things are getting more difficult because of fill in the blank, all these things are happening. Now you're starting to see looting and violence start to drastically increase, because once that starts happening, it's a cascading effect. Other people get involved. Grocery stores are going to be swamped. Trucks are going to be robbed on the road. The police, no matter what good intentions they have for your area, will not be able to keep up, not even close. Then we're going to see the collapse happening. So this literally may be a couple days before. So that's what we're going to keep our eye on. Look at the different events coming. All kinds of things happening. But when you start seeing the violence and the looting and everything start to increase across the country, not just in select areas, that's when you really should start seriously taking action as far as protecting you and your family.
A couple people are saying crossbow or regular bow.
Oh, I'm a crossbow. I have both. I've got long bows. I've got... I look like just a older guy with glasses and a nice smile. But we're armed to the teeth in weapons. Every crazy weapon you can think of, from swords to...
Blow darts.
Yeah, blow darts and throwing knives. And I have so many bows, it's crazy. When they were little kids, taught them archery with a longbow.
Mm-hmm. We had some like kid ones, and then we had...
Then moved up from there.
Yeah.
And we have some bows, just like some of the recurves that are just incredibly powerful. And then compounds, we have a bunch of those. And we have crossbows. Crossbows, in my opinion, is what you should really go for. Number one, it's for somebody who just picks up a bow, has never fired one before. You stand an excellent chance of hitting your target with a crossbow. You stand an excellent chance of not hitting anything with a recurve or a compound or regular row from just picking them up the first time. Crossbows are great. For any other bow, a crossbow, you put the bolt in, you set it up, you can carry it, and it's easy. The weight of it's the only thing you have to carry. Every other bow, you have to, granted, there's a point where it's like, oh, this is hard, then it gets easy, but still holding in that easy part, you still have to hold it until you're ready to fire.
Yeah.
Not with crossbows. I highly recommend you have a decent crossbow. And the thing is, it's funny because with crossbows, you don't have to pay a lot of money to get a nice one. I mean, granted, you can pay a lot of money and still get a piece of junk, but really start looking around. You can get a really decent one for, I think I paid $300 or $400 for the ones we have, and they are fantastic. I wish I could give you the names of them. Offhand, I can't think what they are. But, we go hunting with them most falls. They're just fantastic pieces of equipment. But I love all our bows. My dad, I think I got it from my dad. My dad was an archer, and I've always loved any type of art. I almost said arfetry, your joke. She has, what's your joke, Hannah?
What's a dog's favorite sport?
Yeah, arfetry. And now she used to tell that joke all the time. It's still stuck in my head, arfetry.
Because I made up the joke myself, and I was like really proud of it because I was like 7. So, Billy the Kid says, how about a pistol crossbow like the Road Warrior used?
Oh yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, you have to wonder how much velocity that thing would really have. But yeah, definitely cool.
Yeah.
I don't see why you couldn't, but I don't know. Get rabbits with it. Remember you shot that rabbit?
Or Chewbacca's crossbow.
Yeah, what's that one look like? It shoots
yeah,
lasers, doesn't
yeah.
it? That's so funny.
I
They have
know.
like these little laser blasters, but then the crossbow, it looks like a crossbow, it still shoots lasers.
It's like, so does it also shoot arrows then, or is it just lasers?
Just lasers.
Yeah. So why have it look like a crossbow?
Exactly. I see one from Brenda. I have a water runoff into a container off my roof. Good. If I boil this water, will it be good? Or do I need to put additives in it like chlorine? The boiling it or chlorine, Brenda, will only kill live organisms that might be in there, like bacteria and such. That is a very real thing you need to think about, or possibly some kind of like mold or algae or something that can grow in there. The problem is if you're getting it off your roof, which is getting it from the sky, which is getting it from, etc., it's not just that, but it's the chemicals that might be in it. And I just did a video about this. You really have to look at the chemicals that might be in the water that are from the roof, from bird poo, passing down histoplasmosis, or possibly, the rain washes crap out of the air when it just comes down. There's a lot of those things. So boiling it or putting chemical, if you're just worried about live organisms, I would just put bleach in it. But that's just one small part we have to look at. Sportsman Guide used to sell those small pistol crossbows. Really? About the same dropping power as a pellet gun at about $5. Okay, that's cool. Still fun though. That's it. We practice with weapons, all crazy weapons in our family. When I went to this dojo once years ago, because we go to different ones and check them out and stuff. This guy, it was so stinking amazing. It was a room twice as big as this room, and it was like every conceivable weapon you could ever think of lined up to the wall. I mean, you couldn't even see the wall. There were so many weapons.
Is it like one of those movies where they go in to like stock up before they go and fight the battle
yeah, it was
of
like
zombies?
exactly. It was incredible, and I was like, why am I not going to your dojo? This place is awesome. And so with our school, we purposely teach how to use weapons too, because once you get going with one weapon, you can pick up another one pretty well. Weapons are fun. From Billy the Kid Norwood, 99-cent super sticker.
See,
with
many
sunglasses on.
sunglasses.
Oh, another one popped up too. From Lee H, $5. Thanks for the live stream. Helps me get in right thinking and serious. You're welcome. Oh, hold on. Let me think of a new one on here.
Ooh, what button is he gonna choose?
I don't know what this one is.
There's a bunch of glowing buttons.
Ready? Awesome. I don't know what it did.
What did it do?
The button said awesome. So there's your awesome button, whatever that might
What
be.
did it do? Did it say awesome? Did it just go ba-ba-da?
The thing is, if I put my headphones on, I could actually listen to it, but I don't like having headphones on while I'm actually talking on the channel. Jay's Outdoors. Sven, we almost went there today. Or was it today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Almost went there. Almost. I love going to Jay's. It's fantastic. But I can get in trouble going to that store. I really enjoy the surplus store next door to that too.
Yeah, that place is cool.
Well, Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson in July, LOL. Jimmy, there's probably something there that's probably truth to that. I haven't really kept up with that stuff. I'm not sure what's going on there, but sure, why not? Let's see. Aloha, Jay. It's so funny you say that. The Pink Panther strikes again. Kato strikes, LOL. That is our family. That is our family. Literally, obviously I don't hurt my children, but I purposely will walk up to them and put them into an arm lock because we teach Krav Maga on how to get out of arm locks. Constantly, we're hitting each other or kicking each other.
We'll just like quiz each other too. I mean, like, what's this kick? And we're like, okay, do that. It's like, okay, what's this kick? Okay, do that. And then we'll do like a contest to see who can kick the highest.
And what I like is for those of us in the family who are black belts, it's not simply just doing a kick, but we're fluent in it. So basically, if we're learning this new kick, we're like, hey, I'll get my son, check out this kick I learned today, and then we'll all be trying the new kick and trying to master it and stuff. That's what we do. Our family's fun. We are in the middle of Michigan, Mark. Right in the middle. So Michigan, you always look at the hand. There's like two hands. We're smack dab in the middle of the lower hand.
Yeah, it goes like this. Right, it's
Yeah, there you go. The thumb goes up.
The thumb goes up?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah.
Yeah, so we're right here.
Yep. What is your favorite thing to can at home? I spent an entire day canning and I'm still not done. Well, favorite thing? I'm not sure. The thing we do most often, I would say, is probably salsa.
Yeah, well, not just tomato-based.
Tomato-based stuff, but there's definitely a lot of salsa.
we do a lot of tomato stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite thing
it's because we have a lot of tomatoes.
is jalapeno jelly.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's some delicious stuff right there. Jalapeno jelly. Billy the Kid, black belt. I wish. I do hold an expert rifleman's badge. Yeah, me too, Billy. I'm a marksman from the military as well. Oh, Mark, you're at Mount Pleasant.
Yeah,
Very nice.
cool.
So, Mark, I teach at Mount Pleasant Martial Arts. If you want to stop by there, you can stop over there. That's one of the schools I teach at.
Yeah, like we go there, like I don't know, half the week.
Black belts suck. Suspenders are better. That's so funny. How do I deal with different psychologies of neighbors? That'll definitely be coming in Crap It's Fan. Oh, no doubt. But I will tell you, instead of actually dealing with all the different psychologies of neighbors, general people have the same belief that their job right now is to live their life and just carry on doing whatever distraction in life there is. Some of them, I'll just name off a few. This person loves ice skating. This person loves bowling. This person loves going to bingo every Sunday night. This person, and everybody has like their thing they do, except for focus on getting ready for crap hitting the fan. So all those people will have one thing in common. It doesn't matter if they are going to be jerks because they're jerks now, or are they going to be people who might steal because they steal now. They're all going to be in a very fearful state when that time comes, and they'll have no idea what to do. That's something you need to basically classify everything in that situation. What's better in canning, water bath or pressure cooker? I mean, better is a very subjective term. It depends what you want, because it's easier in water bath, but you can't water bath everything. Personally, I like pressure canning because I like the science involved in stuff. But obviously, there's certain things that you have to use for pressure, and some you can use for water bath. All right, guys. It has been an hour and a half, and that is the time to call it done. So I'm gonna finish with this one. Ready? I think it possibly popped up on there. So I'm gonna have to call it a night. And guys, thanks for coming in. Thanks for all the amazing questions and discussions. I really enjoy our live streams. Appreciate you being here. And we will be live next weekend.
Yeah.
Let me check my calendar. I'm almost 100% certain we will be.
Unless we're celebrating Birdie's birthday.
Birthday's next week.
Never mind.
Never mind.
We will not be live next week.
Not next week.
But
Sorry.
We can. She goes to bed.
Oh yeah, we talked about doing it.
Yeah.
We will be live next
Okay,
week.
never mind.
We will be
Back
live
and
next
forth.
week. We have a birthday, but it's for one of our little ones, which she'll be long to bed before
Yeah.
live stream comes around. So there'll be like cool birthday stuff around the house, I'm sure. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming in. Thanks for all the super chats and super stickers to everybody who gave some. I appreciate it. It always helps out our family. And we will be here next week for same bat time, same bat channel.
Yep.
I should just call it the bat channel.
The Bat Channel.
Oh, that's what Batman used to say. See you next time, same bat time, same bat channel.
Oh.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time, and have a great evening.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.